We always have to look at the things that we may or may not be getting right as a society. We have to look at the things that we can pat ourselves on the back about and say, you know what? This, I think we're doing pretty well. Where we are today because of this and how we approach and go forward with it is making a great difference, and we are doing well in this regard. We also have to be able to say, nope.
That's not the right thing.
And one of the things that I'd like us to have a look at today, Brighton, would be around what drives our thinking. What drives our thinking? Do we think as individuals? Do we think as a group? Do we think as a crowd?
Do you think for yourself?
Do we need to be influenced by what other people think in order to get the entire thought process running? Do we share our approach to things prior to acting on it? Or do we wait and see?
Until it all unfolds, if it's going to be good or bad.
And how does that affect us? One thing I want us to address today is the herd mentality. It's a psychological term, but I think you'll appreciate those factors that come around it.
Yeah.
And maybe it gives us an idea of some ways of thinking and different approaches to how us as a society jump into the different aspects of how thought processes process themselves.
Yeah.
A new research sheds light on a behavior that is consistent among many species, and that is making decisions based upon the actions of others. Now, scientists at the University of Leeds believe they may have found why humans flock like sheep and birds, subconsciously following a minority of individuals. Researchers discovered that it takes a minority of just 5% to influence the crowd's direction, and that the other 95% follow without realizing it. Could this be what transpired this weekend?
Very possible.
Without minimizing or taking away anything that the tragedy has brought us. Could the thinking behind all of this, even the build-up to what eventually happened, could it have been a small group of people who said it's gonna be fine, man? Let's all just do this.
I think it was done once before, so they thought it was fine. Penstown party, for example.
And it was
following
cool.
the one group. Let's all go because they're going, and so and so.
And it seems to have worked out nicely last time. It was a jump off.
Yeah.
So maybe it'll pan out again.
Maybe it's something those kids did before.
At the same place, maybe?
At the same place, and now it seemed fine for them to go back again.
Okay.
Do you understand what I mean?
Okay, fair enough. And now, from what we also understand about this herd mentality, it says, at one extreme, it could be used to inform emergency planning strategies, and at the other, it could be useful in organizing pedestrian flow in any busy areas. Now, the findings show that in all cases, informed individuals were followed by others in the crowd, forming a self-organizing snake-like structure. So other experiments in the study used groups of different sizes with different ratios of informed individuals. This research found and showed that as a number of people in the crowd increases, the number of informed individuals decreases.
That's it.
But the crowd still moves.
The crowd still moves.
So this is hectic.
And what I saw, or what I've researched, is that what is it called when you follow the crowd? And basically it says it's a bandwagon effect.
Yes.
And it's a cognitive bias that cause people to think or act a certain way if they believe that others are doing the same. For example, the bandwagon effect can cause someone to adopt a certain political ideology because they see that other people in the social circle have adopted the same ideology.
Okay, so is that like how peer pressure is based on?
Basically.
Where it's like, everyone's doing it. Let me
do it, man, because 4 of them are doing it also, so it shouldn't have the same effect on me.
Dangerous either way, because if it's not of your own thinking and of your own understanding, it could pose a serious problem to the understanding of the bigger picture.
I think it also boils back to yourself and the models you have and
surely
you see yourself.
Surely
you can't just give into someone else's life, because you're basically giving into someone else's life and what they see is fine.
Right. Well, look, we did find some views on this, and the crowd and collective behavior things that we have read about and tried to really understand in this context. One of the psychologists had this to say about it.
This is Psychos, helping you with your psychology education, one video at a time. This video is on social influence, and in this 13th GCSE video, we're going to be covering crowd and collective behaviour. With very kind support of students and teachers who donate on Patreon to help me help you by continuing to make these videos and resources. A very big thank you for your help, guys. To join them, follow this link. For everyone, you might want to check out the free worksheet for this video and the quiz. So before we start, here are the terms of the AQA GCSE specification we're going to cover in this video. So, as we go through the video, they're going to be in red text, and you need to be able to respond to questions on all of this. Let's get started. So, the definition of collective behaviour is simple. It's the actions people take when they're part of a group. And we see crowds taking part in both collective pro and anti-social behaviour. Pro-social behaviour is constructive, so happy and helpful. Imagine groups of people at music festivals or taking time to peacefully protest a good cause. We can also see pro-social group behaviour in disasters, when people
So we start to understand, the psychological definitions and the descriptions of group mentality. Basically, having less of an opinion within a crowd, but still more action.
More action, yeah.
Takes or makes someone feel like they have less responsibility in the decision.
Because
So
they're
be-
contributing less.
Yeah. And then being part of this mess that happens,
Yeah.
you are not culpable. You're like, well, no. I mean, I didn't say
that,
I
but
di-
you were part of it. But I didn't direct or
I didn't
or-
say go for it.
Yeah.
I was there, but everybody was there.
So no one's really taking the blame or
Right.
or acknowledging them.
Right. And the culpability
Yeah.
is not as clear
Yeah.
as to who's who, where, why, when.
And this is exactly what's happening. With
Exactly,
the situation,
exactly.
At that tavern.
Strange enough, they say about riots and protests, it's the same thing,
That's a good fact. That
where people share a common thing, but at some point there comes a thought
yeah.
that says, well, hold on a second. We might have, we might have to talk about this because this is a situation that we can't run away from. Fine. Have you ever been influenced by the crowd?
Definitely. I would.
Do you want to talk about it?
It boils down to a lot of factors that are in my life.
Right.
I'm already in the event space, so I can relate to this.
So there's a lot of crowd
lot of
interactions.
crowd management, and sometimes you have to compromise your event or yourself
Right.
to maybe meet the needs of your people,
Right.
which may not be right sometimes. Do you know what I mean?
So you may have to cut some corners. You mean?
Cut some corners.
Hey,
'Cause
okay.
it's a very shrewd industry to be in. It's a very intense industry to be in. That's one thing
Okay.
I can say. Yeah, there's fights that happen outside.
Fights that happen inside.
You can't control everything, and sometimes your bouncers aren't there, or your bouncers lose control over the people.
And you can see when that moment happens, you know something
And
happened.
you have to basically now attend to your customers and explain why this happened. Also attend to your bouncers to also understand what was said or done to
Okay.
them that made them act or lash out in that way. So it's a lot of factors that come into play. It's being an event organizer or an event promoter. You really gotta have patience and good what's the word or term, be able to control
And I
a
guess
large amount of people
I guess
and their needs.
anticipation as well.
Yes, and
You've
that's a-
got to know when something
It's
when
about to happen.
Yeah, when things are shifting,
Yes.
you have got to be aware
You have to
that,
make the correct call.
that something has changed or is about to change, and that could affect
Yeah.
things as the rollout happens.
Because in the long run, for example, some promoters chase the crowd, they chase the money. The more people in the venue, the more sales. But like this incident at the tavern, it played out a different way for these owners. It didn't go the way. But maybe they were chasing the money. They need a lot of people in the building, whatever the case may
I
be.
mean, but then there was
It flipped
talk.
on them.
There was talk that the drinks were free and all of that. There's all of this. So I don't know how revenue based this was.
Yeah.
In the context of what we know.
Yeah.
But this could have influenced why others were like, no, we need to be in there.
Yeah. You need to know exactly.
Because obviously, if the selling point is alcohol, now what I wanted to look at is this not a driving factor? Is what we have taught the younger generation to look up to or to respect
Yes.
or to consider when they are talking about having fun? They look at how we have fun, or we've had fun, or how we were taught to have fun, and they say, well, that's the way.
That's the way, and it's being condoned.
So why would you blame me for something I learned from you?
That's a good excuse for the young'uns to put on us.
Well, it's not even an excuse. I think it might even be a reason.
Agreed?
I think it might even be a reason. Because you can't say don't do as I do as I say,
But you did the same.
and in front of you I display a specific behavior
Yeah.
that I say do not display in your own life.
Yeah.
Am I the hypocrite, or am I protective? But I'm just not going about it the right way.
A lot of the parents of today say we don't want you to make the same mistakes as we did.
Right.
But they still continue to make those mistakes.
And
they
not
think the kids
acknowledging
don't see it.
And not acknowledging
And
that
not
they are
acknowledging
mistakes.
it. And then the kids are gonna be like, but but my parents are saying this, but they're doing another. So
I
who
don't,
cares?
I don't understand.
I'm gonna go out tonight with my
Oh,
friends. I'm
you
gonna
see.
sneak out. I'm gonna go sleep there and go do whatever I have to.
Eish, eish. So you see, this could be construed in many different ways.
Yes.
In none of the ways, though, does it make or minimize the impact
Yep.
of things like what we have seen happening over this previous weekend. Another thing, once you get a group of children together, in essence, because it was children, and they have a mentality of overpowering the authorities that are there present, whether they are outnumbered or not by the children.
Yeah.
Once they are overpowered
What
and
do you
and
do?
you have, what is it that you do?
That's
Becau-
a good
bec-
question that I'm battling to even answer myself.
Because from what I understand, that's when the pepper spray was pulled out,
Yes.
and that's where the mayhem ensued.
Because once pepper spray gets unleashed,
That stuff is nasty.
but I want to know, like, you know, in this situation, you have to have health and safety officers for an event or
And protocol.
Yes, certain protocol you gotta follow. So once pepper spray, the first set of protocol you could take out for them to do. Shouldn't they call SAPS crowd control? There's a lot of factors they could have done.
But
before
now
the
remember,
pepper spray.
when you calling SAPS at that time is not in your best interest. I'm not
Because
condoning what happened.
Yes.
But now you realize how much trouble you're really in.
Yeah.
The crowd, you've lost control over them. They are an underage crowd in an legally permitted and a legally established drinking establishment.
Yeah.
The crowd is running the show right now.
Yeah. They overrun. Yeah,
What's your next move?
Yeah. If anyone has any suggestions or on it,
What would happen?
What would happen?
And what would be your next move? 065-970-2707. Again, rest in peace to the souls that were lost over the course of the weekend. We are trying to analyze this approach on a thought basis from any and many different thought angles.
Yeah.
Because we believe there's no one real correct or false
Yeah.
answer to this until we get all the truth and nothing but the truth. Until then, we are left to speculate on angles of how this could have gone wrong, how this could have been fixed, and how it never had to get that far before things of such a tragic nature ended up happening.
And how it can never actually happen again.
Oh man, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, because I think club owners, tavern owners, venue owners around South Africa really will now reconsider their way of events.
And the the screws need to tighten.
Yes.
The screws definitely need to tighten.
I can definitely say for event promoters, it's going to be real hectic for us, for everyone now. People,
Sure.
The liquor board's going to come out to your event now and check your liquor license. I'm sure they're going to start clamping down on everything and tightening up on their ends.
Right,
too.
and random,
Checks.
what's
random
it? Yeah, like an ununiformed inspectors.
Yep.
Who will come and try to see what is being flouted, what rules are being acknowledged or adhered to,
Yep.
what systems that are in place that you have said are in place in your place are being honored or not being honored, and what kind of situation would cause the loss of control.
Yeah.
And if it got close to that, are you equipped to handle that?
To handle the event, yeah.
We'll be talking about this and all of that, even in the third hour. Myself, Mr. Brighton Jafta, holding it down on Moment of Truth. Today we are talking about does herd mentality play a significant role in today's South African society? We've seen it in many other situations. But, again, and we're not blaming the crowd. We are asking if there was a mentality within the crowd that kept the momentum growing to the extent that control was lost. Could it be that because the crowd was not supposed to be there as that crowd anyway, that it was easier for them to lose their control?
Another factor is that kids are drinking. They don't know how to handle alcohol.
And they have to use reasoning with their minds clouded.
Yes.
That's another factor.
That's another factor.
I've heard that the Royal House of Mandela has asked for a ban on liquor. Is that a situation? Is that a solution? I don't think so. But again, another person could say it is. That's not the root cause of this whole situation.
There's a lot of factors, but we need to really like cut it down to the finer detail as to why.
Does this mean maybe the CPFs, like the community policing forums, need to play a more visible role in and around areas where establishments of entertainment are there,
Are being placed.
where alcohol usage is being frequented,
Yeah.
places that are known for certain things?
Yeah.
Should there not be maybe a bit more of a focus
On them.
on the regulation that surrounds those? We'll be talking about that and much more even in the third hour. Do stick around, and thank you for making us your 9 to 12 priority.